وكلا نقص عليك من أنباء الرسل ما نثبت به فؤادك وجاءك في هذه الحق وموعظة وذكرى للمؤمنين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters, we're starting another prophet of Islam, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, and as explained before in the previous sessions, he is the great grandson of Ibrahim alayhi salam. He is the grandson of Ishaq alayhi salam, and he is the son of Yaqub alayhi salam. Now we did Ishaq and Yaqub alayhi salam last week, and with that what's to be added on just a little bit is that part of Yaqub alayhi salam will come in this story. So we will find out a bit more about Yaqub alayhi salam in this story, and also there are many narrations to do with Ishaq and Yaqub alayhi salam from the Israeli narrations, or from the narrations that have been reported through the Jewish rabbis that converted to Islam in early Islam. And those narrations, the Prophet ﷺ has told us, لا تصدقوه ولا تكذبوه. You neither affirm them to say that it's the entire truth, nor do you reject them to say that it is a lie. Because if you affirm what is there, you may be affirming something that may not be true, and if you reject it, you may be rejecting something that is the truth. So that's why the Prophet ﷺ made it clear to us that we neither affirm them completely nor do we reject them, but we can narrate them. But I've left them out because a lot of them are to do with their travels or who they got married to, and how there was a difference of opinion between the different brothers of the family, or the extended relatives of the family. And there's not much to quote to ourselves regarding that, and I'd rather stick to the authentic sources of what we've got in the Qur'an or in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So let's start with this this story about Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. And Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is the most beautiful and the most handsome of all prophets that Allah Azza wa Jal has sent, and he is the most handsome of all human beings that Allah has created on this earth. And Yusuf alayhi salam, his story begins in the Qur'an when he's a young boy, and it finishes when he's near to the end of his life. And in between there we've got an entire chapter that's been revealed regarding him, and it's almost half a juz. And the thing about this is that if you look in about any other prophet alayhi salatu salam in the Qur'an, you will never find a prophet mentioned in its entirety in one place of the Qur'an in such detail. There's no other place. In fact, the Qur'an mentions each prophet separately in many different surahs and many different contexts. Why? Because each context relates to that particular event that Allah is drawing out. And I've been talking about this since we started the series, that each of the different places Allah will talk about the prophets, it's for a particular reason. But Yusuf alayhi salam is the only prophet alayhi salatu salam that is discussed in one entire chapter. It's very different from all the other chapters of the Qur'an. And this surah is a dalil or an evidence for us in one sense, which is that the entire Qur'an seems to be jumbled up. It's not actually jumbled up. The entire Qur'an is actually in a beautiful format, but you've got to work out, the human being has to sit down, and the human being has to work out why Allah mentioned this, and then that, and then that, and then that. And suddenly a prophet's story comes, and suddenly goes to another prophet, and suddenly it goes to the skies and the heaven, and suddenly it goes to a person's heart, and suddenly it talks about an incident in the Prophet's life, and suddenly it talks about the seas and the oceans and all of that. And why Allah is doing that, there are deep hidden messages in the Qur'an, and it's only through an in-depth study of the Qur'an a person can get to know that. But the accusation against the Muslims, or against the revelation of the Qur'an, is that why is it to the the newcomer to the Qur'an that he finds so much going on. There's nothing that seems to be in a sequence or in order. And then they raise the question, couldn't Allah have just revealed all of it? Like, he could have just said Surah Musa, so all of Musa alayhi salam stuff comes in there, and Surah Nuh, and also Nuh alayhi salam. I mean, we've got a Surah Nuh, but that only discusses one part of Nuh alayhi salam's life. The rest of it is in so many other parts of the Qur'an. Couldn't we have Surah, something else about, okay, Surah Nisa, you got about women. Can't all the things about women just come inside there? Well, no is the answer. Why? Because there's a deep hidden messages, and one will only appreciate the Qur'an once you study the in-depth part of the Qur'an. I mean, let me put it this way, that this is a beautiful thing that one scholar said once, and he's a wonderful scholar. He's not alive. His name is Mullah Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahab, and he said that the answer to this, why Allah has done this, is in 2 verses of the Qur'an. 2 verses of the Qur'an. But he wouldn't say which 2 verses of the Qur'an they were, and he wanted people to actually find the 2 verses of the Qur'an. He would actually say this in gatherings of scholars and say, if you can understand 2 verses that are similar to one another in the Qur'an, if you study them, then you will find that Allah Azza wa Jal has given His reason why He's kept it like this, why the Qur'an appears like this. It's meaningful, but it's meaningful after you've spent time with it. It's not meaningful. I mean, it's beautiful when you look at the Qur'an, when you read the Qur'an, it's beautiful, but then you kind of think, well, why couldn't it be like the way humans would have it? So how would a human write a book? The way a human would write a book is exactly what Surah Yusuf is. So if you look at Surah Yusuf, that's how a human would want a book to be written or a chapter to be written. Now you've got a beginning, you've got a theme, you've got a few chapters in between, and then you've got an end, and you've got a whole story that unfolds bit by bit in its actual logical sequence or its order. And a human would want that. But the human doesn't get that except in Surah Yusuf. Of the whole of the Qur'an, only in Surah Yusuf he gets that. And this is the dalil I'm trying to say to you, the evidence I'm trying to say to you, is that this is Allah's way of showing to us that if I wanted to reveal the whole Qur'an like this, I could have done this. But I didn't, for a reason. And there's a lot more beauty in, I'm not saying any part of the Qur'an is less beautiful, but there's a lot more beauty in the rest of the Qur'an when Allah has put things in so many different ways that it's actually it's a hologram. So it's like you're having this device and you kind of look through here and you can see a sequence, all the holes in there seem to match up, and you can see a beautiful line of a hollow going right through there. But then the hologram, when you turn it slightly around, you can see the holes that were aligned this way now have fallen in front of your eye, and they make a beautiful line. And when you move it again another direction, you can see holes again, and when you move it another direction, you can see holes. But there's so many holes here. If you look at the whole piece, it's a piece that's got so many holes, but only when you turn it to a certain angles can you see a beautiful sequence within that. And that's the Qur'an. But why has Allah done that? Why did Allah do that? So, Mullah Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahib used to say that there's 2 verses that are similar to them. If you study these 2 and know them 2, then you'll understand the reason. What is that? Well, I thought about this very long, and it took me years to kind of find these verses in the Quran. So I'm probably giving you something that is worth a lot of bucks, man, a lot of money, I'm telling you. So what is that? Well, if you look in Surah Qaf, Surah 50, and Surah 50, and you look at verse number 6 and 7, and you kind of find this verse, and there's another similar verse in the Quran, where Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, أَفَلَمْ يَنْظُرُوا إِلَى السَّمَاءِ فَوْقَهُمْ كَيْفَ بَنَيْنَاهَا وَزَيَّنَّاهَا وَمَا لَهَا مِنْ فُرُوجٍ وَالْأَرْضَ مَدَدْنَاهَا وَأَلْقَيْنَا فِيهَا رَوَاسِيَ وَأَنْبَتْنَا فِيهَا مِنْ كُلِّ زَوْجٍ بَهِيجٍ. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal says that, have you not seen the sky above, have they not seen the sky above them, how Allah made it? Allah says, how I made it, and how I decorated it, and how I created, without it having any holes in it or any defect in it. And then the earth, I stretched it, and I placed within it mountains, and I created, or I grew within it from every single thing you want. Allah says, Zawjim Bahij. I created marvelous things that are in pairs. Okay? Tabsira wa dhikra likulli abdin munib. This is an insight, and this is a way of remembrance for every servant of mine who turns towards this message, or turns towards me. Now, what is about this verse is that when a human being looks at nature, because Allah is talking about nature here, and then He goes on to talk about the water and so on, nazzalna minas samai ma'an, and so on and so forth. When a human being looks at, for example, nature, there is one thing that he notices which he doesn't notice in his own architecture. Now, what Allah described in that verse is the architecture of the universe. And when you look at the human's architecture is very different. So let me just give you an idea. If you look at the musalla that's on the beneath you, the colors of all these greens, are they the same? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Yes. Is the pattern the same? Come on, guys, answer. Yes or no? Yes. Right. The pillars that you see, you'll see that the pillars have all been lined up. Right? All the pillars in this hall, they've all been lined up. So whether you look at this way down or whether you look at that way down, they've all been lined up. Right? You look above you and look at the ceiling, you see all these squares that you've got that make up this ceiling. They're all equal. You look at the light above your heads, you'll see that the lights are all equal. The actual size of them, the amount of light they give out, and so on, they're all equal. And that's how human beings like their world, and that's how their architecture and their design is. That is very much like for like. So if they're making a house, one window will sort of match another window. A door will match all the other doors in the whole of the house. The handles will match all the other handles, and so on. That's how human beings like it. And if you human beings try to make something different to that, it doesn't work. So if you created this hall with all the pillars all over the place, and you came and every carpet was different, every musalla was different, how would you feel? You come inside here and there's all like purple, pink, blue, or even if it was green, but there's all sorts of greenness and different greens and different lengths. Let's say the musalla, one musalla was long, one was short, one was, you'd walk in here and think, what on earth is this? And the design was different. You wouldn't be able to concentrate. You'd stand here and think, man, what is this? It's giving me a headache. What is this? And if part of it was higher, part of it was lower, you'd think, what? One thick carpet, one thin one. Hey man, what is going on? Maybe that guy gave more sadaqah, he gets to go into the thick carpet. What's going on? But if this is a human being. So when the human being designs something, creates something, he wants it the same all across. And that's the only way he's going to get beauty. But Allah shows the human being that I can mix everything up. I can mix it so wildly that is beyond your dreams to create something like this. But still, though I mix it so much, there's still beauty in that. So when you look at grass, just look at grass. Is any blade of grass the same size and shape as every other blade of grass, yes or no? No, it's not. And when you cut it all, you bring a lawnmower out and you cut it all like kind of clean. Yeah, it's all the same size. Oh, it looks nice. After 2 weeks, even after a few days, you notice that some grass are growing faster than other grass. But when you sit there after 2 weeks and you look at your garden, it still looks beautiful. Even though the grass are different shapes. When you look at a landscape and there are many trees, though there are so many different kind of trees, just like the pillars of this masjid, they're not in line. Nothing's in line. One's growing thick, one's growing thin, one's growing high, one's low, one's stretching out, one's to itself, one's sort of bending slightly, one's not bending slightly, one's giving shade, another one doesn't give shade, and you see all kind of different size of leaves, different twigs, different branches, and all sorts of shapes and sizes and crookedness and straightness and all kind of things in the same landscape. But isn't it beautiful? Yes or no? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. The human can't do this. And that's where Allah shows the human being that, listen, this is who I am. That I can turn it all, mess it all up according to your dictionary, but it still will be beautiful and you still will love it. But if you did that to your design and to your architecture, no one will like it. And that's me, who is God, that's teaching you who I am and what my design is about. So when you look at anything about Allah and His creation, look at the stars, it's all mumbled, jumbled. No, when you look at it, there's no meaning there. But people who studied it, they look deep, they find meaning in that. People who look at the waves of the ocean. Look at the mountains, how Allah creates mountains. Nothing's in the same line. You never find two mountains, same shape, same size, equal, so that you can love it. No, Allah creates different sizes and different shapes. But when you go deep into those, what you find is that there's beauty in each one. So each tree in that small place, it will have its own beauty. Each bark will have its own beauty. Each branch will have its own beauty. Each leaf will have its own beauty. And within the whole landscape, there's beauty. But the thing is, it's crazy. It's like if we did that, it'd never be beautiful. But each one has, in Allah's created systems within that, where there's so much going on in the ecological system within that it's beautiful within and outside. Now, why I'm saying this is that when you look at the rest of the Qur'an, outside Surah Yusuf, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Even though it's all out of shape. It's all kind of mumble jumbled verses, one here, one there, one there. But it's beautiful. But when you look within Surah, you think that Allah has to mess it up like that and create beauty? No, He doesn't. So then He gives us Surah Yusuf. He said, okay, here's a surah. This is how you humans like it. Yeah, let's go through it. But it's still beautiful. And there are so much messages that you can get from this one plain surah that gives you things in a logical order, how the human being would love the story to be. Like Musa alayhi salam has got more mention in the Qur'an than any other prophet. He's got 137 places in the Qur'an where his mention is. So his story is longer than the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. But Allah decided not to put Musa alayhi salam's story in one place. He could have, but he spread it out in the whole of the Qur'an. And there's still beauty in that. Each verse you come across, you think, wow, you stop there, you think, wow, look at the context around it. Just the way you'd see a tree, you wouldn't just see a tree in the middle of nowhere. It'll have a lovely landscape around it, and it's beautiful with the whole landscape around it. And the same way Allah Azza wa Jalla has put these verses in the Qur'an. But when you come to Surah Yusuf, is there beauty in that? Well, there's beautiful, amazement with this one surah, just as there's beauty outside of the surah. So let's go through it. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He starts by saying that نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ, I'm going to tell you the most beautiful of all stories. Now this Allah says, this is the most beautiful of all stories. Now, what makes it the most beautiful of all stories? This is a big question. How can a story be the most beautiful of all stories? The most dramatic, the most beautiful, the most good looking, the kind of surah that you listen to and you want to hear again and again is proven. How? Tell me, when we were young, okay, kids love stories. And we heard all these stories, and I'll tell you one thing, right? There's some of these stories that we've got in our in our books, they're not there. When you grow up and you look back, you think, that's mean, man. I used to love that story when I was young. So let's just take one example. Yeah, Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack and the Beanstalk. Jack is lazy. He doesn't want to do work. If you're an adult and you look back, you think, man, what on earth is he doing? He's not listening to his mum. He's not getting up and working, number one. Second is, Jack's mum says, take this cow and sell it for some money. He goes, and foolish Jack goes, and he gets some beans in return of a cow. I mean, how? And then he comes back, and obviously he says, yeah, I believe in all of it. And his mum's shouting at him, what, you fool? That's disobedience of a mother, and so on. Then you look, after that, he climbs up and goes. Why is he climbing up? If you think of it, what? Climbing up a whole tree, going to the sky, without anyone, yeah, I'm just going off. Well, man, if you didn't want to work, what are you climbing for? What's wrong with you? So anyway, he goes and then he starts stealing. from a giant in the sky, you know, sack of steel, and comes back and his mother says, yeah, you know, it's good. Thank you. Get some more. Go up back again and get some more. I mean, all these stories that you've got, they've got, you know, things that, and they've been analyzed. But what I want to say to you is that when you're a young kid, you listen to these stories and you love them. You love them. And when you hear them again and again, you don't want to hear it again and again, until there comes a point when you say, nah, you know, that story is fine, I can read it, fine, I can, but there's no meaning, no morals or anything coming out of it. So, for example, as an adult now, when I read, you know, children's books to my kids, there's just so much you're going to get out of it, and then you say, well, I'm just doing it purely for the language's sake. I just want the children to learn language, but there's no real morals that are going to come out of this any more than what I could take out. But the beauty of the Qur'an is, and the stories of the Qur'an, and especially of the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, is that you sit there and you can think and you can bring out new morals every single time. And they just don't end. If you're a 7-8-year-old and you listen to this story, you will love it because you'll find it fantastic. If you're a 15-year-old, you will think as a teenager and you will go through Yusuf alayhi salam's story. If you're a 25, 30-year-old, you will think according to that age. Oh wow, you know, I'm getting, you know, I'm an adult now, and I look at Surah Yusuf, and you'll take meaning out of it. And you go mid-aged, 35, 40, and you look in the Qur'an and you look at Surah Yusuf and you think, yeah, wow, you know, that's got something for me. And the one who's old will look in Surah Yusuf and saying, yeah, that's for me. Everyone is saying this surah is for me, it's reflecting me. Now that's a miracle. And that's why Allah Azza wa Jal says it's ahsan al-qasas. And every part of it gives you new meaning. So let's just go through it. So I'm telling you from now that it's going to take us several weeks to get through this surah, because there's so much that Allah Azza wa Jalla has put in there. But whatever we can discuss, inshallah, we'll discuss. So Allah says, بِمَا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ, that this from the revelation of the Qur'an that I've given to you, O Muhammad, this is the most beautiful story I'm going to reveal to you. وَإِن كُنْتَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ لَمِنَ الْغَافِلِينَ, even though just before this you didn't know about this surah. So this is how it starts off. إِذْ قَالَ يُوسُفْ لِأَبِيهِ, when Yusuf alayhi salam said to his father, Ya abati, my beloved father, inni ra'aytu ahada ashara kawkaba, my beloved father, I saw 11 stars, wa shamsa wal qamar, and I saw the sun and I saw the moon. Ra'aytuhum li sajidin, I saw them bowing down and prostrating to me. Now, Yusuf alayhi salam has the dream. Now, this is the first thing that we're going to say from here. Now, not everyone has a lot of dreams. This is another thing I'm going to say to you. I know I said a few things about dreams at the end of the last session, but I'm going to tell you more, inshallah, as we go along the story. Not everybody has dreams all the time. There are certain people who get dreams quite a lot, and there's others who barely get dreams. There are certain people who will just nod off, and within that quick nod, they will see something. And there's others who can sleep for a full night and full year, and they've probably seen one dream somewhere, that's it. Okay? Now, we don't know the reason why this is the case, but this is the fact. And then there's certain people who will see dreams and they'll be all mumble jumble. So one of the things that we'll learn from Surah Yusuf is that not every dream is something that you should be concerned about, because there's one part which is known as adghathu ahlam. Now, adghathu ahlam is muddled up dreams, and it doesn't tell you anything. It just tells you whatever you had in your mind, it's just occurring again in the night time. And it could be occurring in several different ways. So you see yourself in your house, then you see yourself in your workplace, then you see yourself with your friend, then you see yourself with your family, and then something happens, and all of a sudden you're eating or whatever else you're doing, and you're just moving all over the place. So this is like a muddled up dream. This is known as adghathu ahlam. So this doesn't tell you any fact. There's another section of dreams that you have, and the shaitan or the devil will come and actually make you see those things. Whether it's to scare you, whether it's to give you the wrong message, whether it's to misguide you, whatever it is, the shaitan comes in. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he spoke about this. And he said that the one that shaitan cannot resemble is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. He can't resemble his image. Allah hasn't allowed that. Allah hasn't allowed that he could resemble Prophet ﷺ. And if anyone thinks that they've seen the Prophet ﷺ in their dream, they have to study the shama'il or the characteristics and the features of the Prophet ﷺ through the eyes of the Sahaba, which are recorded in hadith, which have got good chains and strong chains and authentic ahadith, and if they don't fit the exact image of the Prophet ﷺ, and you think the person in the dream said, you know, I am the Prophet, or you've got a feeling that he's the Prophet, then I'm sorry, you haven't seen the Prophet ﷺ. It has to fit his description found in the ahadith. So that's a second type, which is that the shaitan could come in and show a dream and misguide people. A third section of dreams is to do with the true dreams. Now what's true dreams? True dreams is part of revelation. True dreams is part of revelation. And we've got to understand that when Rasulullah ﷺ was in his deathbed, he said that nothing from nubuwwah, nothing from the prophethood is going to remain, meaning after his death, because he's the last of all prophets. Illa ru'ya as-salihah, except a pious dream. And he called it 1/46th of prophethood. What did he mean by that? Well, the whole of prophethood of Prophet ﷺ was 23 years, and the first 6 months of the Prophet ﷺ's prophethood life began with true dreams. And it's in Sahih Hadith of Bukhari that Prophet ﷺ would have no dream except the way he described it to Khadija radiallahu anha in the morning. That's exactly how it unfolded in Makkah al-Mukarramah. So it's like a deja vu. Okay? And a deja vu, if anyone has a deja vu, it's a true dream. Now, if you get a true dream, does that mean that you are someone big? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've seen a dream about you, man. I know what's going to happen to you, you know? I don't know what's wrong with some people. They kind of feel they're kind of some kind of saint because they've seen a dream. They walk with a chip on their shoulder. They walk with a big, you know, puffed up chest. And they look down on people and think, yeah, Allah showing me all these dreams. So I must be someone high, you know, honorable in the sight of God. How do you know that? And I'm telling you, it's got nothing to do with you being close to Allah Azza wa Jal. Except if your life is in accordance to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. But then you get all these good dreams, then fine. If your life is in accordance to the actual sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and then you start seeing these good dreams, then it's fine. But you know what you will do then? You will not go around boasting with your dreams. You will not go around putting other people down. You will see the dreams, you will be concerned, and you will say the du'as for the dreams, which Rasulullah ﷺ said. And one thing which is absolutely clear is that no person sees any dream after the Prophet ﷺ and makes it like a wahi or a revelation. Nobody has the authority. Even if you see something so dramatic and so real and such a deja vu, you know it's going to happen. It doesn't matter. You've got no right to come and tell the other Muslims that they must listen to you because of your dream. They don't have to. Nobody has to. If people want to take advice of you because of the dream you've seen about them, that's fine. But you have no authority to stamp it down and say, yeah, I've seen it. And you know, you get these messages going around. You know, the Imam of Haram sat in the Haram and he was in front of the Kaaba in between Asr and Maghrib on a Friday, and he dozed off and he saw this dream, and in it he saw the Prophet and the Prophet told him this, that this is the last part of the day of before the day of judgment. Well, first thing, my brother, yeah, have you ever seen an Imam of Haram in front of the Kaaba dozing off? Wake up, geezer. We go and do a tawaf around there, they're not to be seen around, and when they come with all their guards, my friend. Yeah? And you're not able to even shake their hands. And they do the salah and they're gone again. Have you ever seen one dozing off in the haram? I don't know what's wrong with you. But anyway, let's go on. So he sees this dream. And in that dream he says, tell my ummah that these are the days of the last day. Just before the last day. This is going to happen and that's going to happen, that's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And if anybody does not forward this message or print it and photocopy it, then he's going to ruin his business. Oh, my God, man, what's wrong with these people? As if the Prophet's going to tell the Imam of Haram to photocopy some dream of his, but not tell people to read the actual hadith in the books. What's wrong with you? And people start photocopying and forwarding these text messages. My God, I don't want my business to be ruined. Something wrong with you, man. And there's other people in the family, in the household, they wake up in the morning, they think, I've seen him in my dream. What? Do you think that non-Muslims don't see dreams, true dreams? Non-Muslims see true dreams. Yes or no, guys, tell me. Yes. What's the dalil for it? What's the evidence? Gone? Surah Yusuf, why? Tell me, gone. Thank you. The prisoners, they were polytheists. The prisoners in the surah, they are committing shirk. They're doing the most, abhorrible thing in the sight of Allah, which is they are assigning partners with God. And one of them sees this dream, which is a true dream, and Yusuf alayhi salam, he gives him the interpretation. Now, subhanallah, mushrik, Allah is showing him a true dream. Does that mean that the mushrik is close to God? No way. This is Allah's rahmah, His mercy. Whoever in the world He wants them to see true dreams, He'll just distribute it. So don't you think that you're close to God because you saw some true dreams. And the next thing is that even if you feel that you're kind of getting these feelings and visions and things going to happen, it doesn't mean anything except if Allah Azza wa Jal, His Messenger's sunnah, you are following. That tells you the closeness of Allah. Why am I saying this again and again? Allah's Messenger's sunnah, if you follow it, then you're close to Allah, otherwise you're not close to Allah. Where am I getting this from? This is from the Qur'an. Surah Al-Imran, Surah 3, ayah number 31. Allah says, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِ. If you really love Allah, if you want to claim that you love Allah, then you follow me. So all of these big peers and these sheikhs and these people who are, big time, like they're giving you, they're sitting there with a turban that's probably, bigger than, bigger than your pillow. And they're with a robe that's probably bigger than what could fit in your wardrobe. Right? And they're with a stick, and I probably took a tree trunk out and put it next to them. And then they sit in front of you, all flexed up. And with the eyes that are mean looking at it, and they say a few words, and it's supposed to be, oh my God, God's giving this. There are good people out there, don't get me wrong here. There are true awliya of Allah out there, don't get me wrong. But they're very humble, my friend, they're very humble. And they don't put all this on. They don't try and make themselves look big because of the way they dress up, and the way they appear, and the way they speak. And it's like, the man, if you don't keep him happy, and if he's upset with you, then you're finished. They don't like that. The real awliya of Allah are very humble. You won't even know that they're close to Allah. But they're so close to Allah. The real awliya don't sit there trying to tell you how you're going to go to hellfire because of a dream he's seen or whatever. The real awliya don't do that. The real awliya of Allah, they're with you as normal people. And they show you the character of the Prophet ﷺ. That's the real awliya. That's why the Qur'an said, فَاتَّبِعُونِ. O Prophet, anyone who follows you, that's a real person who's close to me. So what I want to say to you is that a person seeing a dream, dreams Allah distributes to anybody. Mushrik, atheist, Christian, Jewish person, Hindu person, whatever faith is, they get dreams. Just like Allah gives His rahmah on you with sleep and with food and with everything else, regardless of whether you swear at Allah, whether you believe in Allah, whether you do sujood to Allah, whether you disobey Allah, Allah will give these things. So dreams are part of that. Now the ru'ya as-salihah or ru'ya as-sadiqah, the true dreams which the Prophet ﷺ referred to, they are true and they give you a message. You, the person who's seen that, they give you a message. Now yes, it's a message for the people you've seen it regarding, but you're not supposed to use it to put them down. If anything, you're supposed to use it as nasiha. You use it as good advice, that's it. And you humble yourself in the sight of Allah because Allah is giving you this true dream. So Yusuf a.s. sees this true dream. And the dream, Yaqub a.s. knows straight away what this dream is. Because Yaqub a.s. has been blessed with knowing the interpretation of dreams. And Yaqub a.s. tells him, instead of giving instead of giving him the interpretation of the dream, he just tells him, he gives him some advice. He says, Ya bunay, oh my beloved son, la taqsus ru'yaka ala ikhwatik. Don't tell your dream to your brothers. فَيَكِيدُوا لَكَ كَيْدًا, because they will start plotting against you. Inna shaytana lil-insani aduwwun mubin. Shaitan is a clear enemy for the human being. Now, instead of telling him directly he didn't give him the interpretation. He just said, don't tell your dream. Why not? Because the brothers also knew, because they're in the family and a household of a generation of people who know how to interpret dreams. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, then Ishaq alayhi salam, and Yaqub alayhi salam, and later on it's going to be Yusuf alayhi salam. So Yusuf alayhi salam doesn't know the interpretation of these dreams right now. And that's what exactly Yaqub alayhi salam says in ayah number 6. He says, وَكَذَلِكَ يَجْتَبِيكَ رَبُّكَ. He says, thus Allah will choose you and He will teach you from the interpretation of dreams. He will teach you that. وَيُتِمُّ نِعْمَتَهُ عَلَيْكَ, and He will fulfill His blessings upon you and upon the family of Yaqub, meaning the rest of the progenies that I will have. كَمَا أَتَمَّهَا عَلَى أَبَوَيْكَ مِنْ قَبْلِ إِبْرَاهِمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ. Just as Allah fulfilled it to your two forefathers, Ibrahim and Ishaq alayhi salatu wasalam. So what he said to him is that Allah will, give you the interpretation. Allah will look after you. Allah will teach you all of this. But just for now, don't tell your brothers. Now, who are his brothers? He has 10 older brothers from another mother. And he has, one younger brother, Binyamin, from his mother. So they're all together the 12 brothers. The first 10 brothers come from one mother. And Yaqub alayhi salam gets married again. And from the second wife comes Yusuf alayhi salam, and then Binyamin. So Binyamin's the youngest. Yusuf alayhi salam is the 11th in the family. And the other 10 brothers, Yaqub alayhi salam had them already going out, and they were working and going and seeing, looking after the sheep and looking after fields and so on. So they were brothers that were working. And as for Yusuf alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam had extreme love for this one child. Extreme love. Now, there's one thing about you being just and fair to your kids, but the other thing is about love. Love sometimes takes over. And you just can't help it, that you just have that extra love for this one person out of all these other people. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had the same thing. He loved all of his wives. He was fair and just to all of his wives, but he couldn't help the fact that he loved Aisha radiallahu anha more than the rest of the wives. He just couldn't help that. So he said to Allah in one dua of his, he said, oh Allah, after he shared something to all of his wives equally, he said, oh Allah, I have been just and fair to all of my wives regarding what I have power over. Like, this is in my control to do this. But please, oh Allah, don't take me to task for that thing which I don't have power over, which is the love, extra love he has for Aisha radiallahu anha. He just can't help it. Allah's made him like that he has that extra love for this one wife of his. But what you've got to remember is that there's going to be jealousy that gets created. And the wives of the Prophet ﷺ found, that they wanted to compete with one another just to get that closeness of the Prophet ﷺ. And they had incidents, which is not the time right now to go into that. But just based upon that, Yaqub ﷺ's children all knew that this one son, especially, they say that the youngest one usually gets more of your love than the older ones. It's strange how Allah has created us, because the first son or first daughter that comes out, they get the worst. Because you want to get everything right about them, isn't it? You want to get everything right about them. You don't want to make any mistakes about them. So that's the first one. And then the second one comes and you're a bit more easy on the second one. And third one comes and you're like, oh yeah, that's I've been through it before. Don't worry, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. I don't need to be that strict with the third one, just as I was with the first and the second one. And that's how it sort of goes. But what you do have to realize is that you could create a rivalry between your children because of the way that you're treating them, especially when you're extra love. If it shows in any way in front of your kids that you're giving favoritism, then it's seriously going to turn to what? It's going to turn to jealousy. And Yaqub alayhi salam knew this, that even though he's a prophet alayhi salatu salam, and this is the amazing thing, he's a prophet alayhi salatu salam, and he's got children to worry about. Just because they're the children of Prophet doesn't mean that they're perfect. He's got to do his own bit here. So he knows this, and he tells Yusuf alayhi salam, don't you tell your brothers about this dream. Just don't tell them. Now, subhanAllah, what happens? Yusuf alayhi salam goes and tells his brothers about the dream. Why? Because he is young. He is, he's just a young kid thinking. After a little while you think, man, I want to get it off my chest. I want to tell this. I want to tell this dream. I want to say it is such a nice dream to see that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine seeing the whole sun coming down and bowing down to you? And the whole moon and the sun bowing down to you. Can you imagine 10, 11 stars bowing down to you? Wow! I seen this. And he goes excitedly after a little while and he just blurts it out to his brothers. Not knowing what the interpretation of the dream is, and not knowing why his father said not to tell his brothers. Because his father never said that your brothers are going to get jealous of you, your brothers will do this, your brothers will do that. He didn't say that. He just said, فَيَكِيدُوا لَكَ كَيْدًا. They may plan against you. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. The devil is a clear enemy of the human being. Now, he just said it, and it's not realized. And the older brothers realized what this was. This was clearly a sign that Yusuf would surpass them in a lot of things. And Yusuf would become the center of, Allah's great favoritism on him. He would become the best out of all the brothers. He would get everything. And right now, it really hurts. You know why? Because when they go out there, and they toll the lands, and when they look after the sheep, guess where Yusuf is? He's playing at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hurts. That little one, yeah, that's more beautiful than any of us, yeah. Already he's got these long eyelashes, and he's got these beautiful eyes, and he's got this handsome face, yeah. And he's like kuchi kuchi coo with everyone around him, yeah. And he's playing at home, and daddy loves him more than anyone else, and daddy wants to protect him like in any way, anything. Where's Yusuf? Where's Yusuf? Where's Yusuf? Yusuf. Over us. Sheep. And he gets Yusuf. So he gets all the loves, all the cuddles, and all the kisses and everything else. And there's us sweating all day, coming back home, looking after the sheep, and have to wash ourselves after a hard day's work. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound right. And Yusuf smelling all nice inside, It doesn't look nice. So Allah Azza wa Jalla says, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي يُوسُفَ وَإِخْوَتِهِ آيَاتٌ لِلسَّائِلِينَ. Allah is going to reveal a lot to us through this surah about what could happen to brothers, what could happen to close ones, what could happen to people who are in a relationship in any way, what could happen. Allah reveals a lot about their lives. So first is, إِذْ قَالُوا, when they said, this is the ayah number 8 of Surah Yusuf, Surah number 12. When they said, La Yusuf wa akhuh, is Yusuf and Binyamin. Both of them, they are so beloved. Oh my God, the love dad has for these two. Wa nahnu usbah. We got the muscles, we got the strength, we've got the team together. We have to use our muscles and our body when it's their faces and their glamour that gets them everything they want. That's exactly what it was. Nahnu usba means that we're the hard working ones. They're getting it all easy. Why is that the case? Inna abana lafi dhalalin mubin. Our father. Now this is the sons of a prophet thinking like this. And Allah revealed this for a reason, because it doesn't matter how pious you are, my friend, your children don't become pious as you overnight. They have to go through the same things that you went through to get pious as you. Right? So please, there's a big lesson in this. Doesn't matter how pious you were, And you know, sometimes people look at a couple of, you know, they look at some parents and they say, oh man, them two, oh, their kids can't go wrong, you know. They got such pious parents, they can't go wrong. Who said that? Shaitan goes in their house more than he comes to your house, brother. I'll just tell you that. Shaitan goes more to a house where there's pious people than where there's non-pious people. Because the non-pious people, Shaitan sits back and he says, I've done my job. I don't need to go in there. They're worse than me. You know what I'm saying? They're worse than me. When he goes to a pious one, he needs to go there. And they say, subhanAllah, they say that, this scholar said a beautiful thing. He said, if you get waswasa in your heart, if you get waswasa and you got whisperings in your heart, there's a reason why that happens. Because a thief doesn't go to a house that doesn't have any valuables. A thief goes to a house where there's something to steal. So shaitan will only come to your heart to give waswasa because you got something valuable in there. You got iman. You got iman, you got belief. So anyway, so this is Yaqub Alayhi's house where the brothers are ganging outside and they're saying, our father, he's in dalalim mubin. Now what does dalalim mubin mean? You could say that this part means he's in clear error, as in he's made a clear error. And that could be the case, that you could translate this. From their view, he's making a big error here. Error of judgment. But this dalal word also comes from a root word that gives us the meaning of emotions. So it's error made because of emotions. So our father is so emotional, he's just gone off track because of his emotions. And because of his emotions, he's now treating us in one way that he's not treating Yusuf and Binyamin. Now they got to the stage where some of them, this jealousy was so bad. You got to understand that. What could make half brothers say this about another half brother? Because they're actually brothers end of the day. What would make them say this? That they said, Uqtulu Yusuf, kill him. Now, wow. It's like, you think, really? Half brothers are going to kill another half brother? They're going to kill him? They're actually saying, kill him? Well, yes. When people look at others and think, how did he get that big house? How did he get that big car? How did he get all those clothes? Why is he more intelligent than me? Why is she more beautiful than me? How has she got all those jewelry on her? Why has she got that handbag that makes all the other women look at her, not at mine? Why is that? All these differences that we've got, when it gets to a certain stage, jealousy is the thing that leads to serious crime. As I said to you earlier in the series, the first crime in the heavens was jealousy. Iblis had jealousy against Adam alayhi salam. And the first crime on the earth was jealousy again. It was Habil and Qabil. Qabil was jealous of his brother Habil and he killed him. Right? And this is again another story that tells us about jealousy. It's a serious problem within human beings. Now what this surah will teach us is the psychology of human beings. So already what we can see is the reason why this is all happening, and then we see to what extent the human being goes to. And these brothers, some of them are saying this, kill him. Some others said, awitrahuhu arda. They said, let's just go and throw him into a land that he'll never be able to come back again. He won't find his way back. يَخْلُ لَكُمْ وَجْهُ أَبِيكُمْ. Subhanallah. The only reason why they did this was they said, after we get rid of Yusuf, we will become the only faces our father will be completely tuned towards. That's the only reason why they did this. Allah reveals this. يَخْلُ لَكُمْ وَجْهُ أَبِيكُمْ. They wanted attention. You know, any person that is jealous, there's a reason why they're jealous. And the primary reason is because they're not getting attention. This is a serious sickness, disease. If you know any person who's jealous, what they want is they want attention. So if you know someone who's jealous of you, how do you diffuse their jealousy? Anyone tell me? Yes, thank you. Create situations where they get attention. That's how you diffuse it. So basically, if you got someone who's jealous about you, the thing wrong to do is to carry on building your own attention. Yeah, you're jealous of me? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. Yeah, you watch. Yeah, hey guys, look. Yeah, so you're creating more and more attention to kill that person off, to make sure that he kind of dies in his own jealousy. Well, that's not going to happen. When a person is jealous of you, they're looking for attention. And you need to do the reverse. The more attention they get, and they're able to get, and the less limelight on you, and the less people give you credit or give you attention, the better it is that you will survive this game. Otherwise, that person who's jealous, Allah has revealed in the Holy Qur'an that it can get to murder. Jealousy can lead to murder. And a lot of the cases across the world, that's what it gets to. People get jealous of each other because of business. Rivalries get created. In the end, he just can't take it. He's jealous. The guy's made so much money when he's sitting next door to him with the same stock and he hasn't made anything. He just has a hitman, go and kill him. A woman's jealous of another, a woman sees her husband is, with another woman. And sometimes she gets so jealous, just do something, kill him in his sleep, kill him in the house, hire someone again to kill him. There's so many stories across the world. There's brothers, sisters, rivalries that get created, and jealousy is the first thing, and eventually it can get to murder. And the only way to diffuse it, again, the Qur'an is teaching us is, you got to understand the reason why they're doing it, and you diffuse it from there. So for example, you've got someone who's jealous of you, the way you look. Get yourself out of people's attention, man. If it's Facebook, man, just delete the account. You know what I'm saying? You're beautiful with the Facebook as you are without the Facebook. You don't need it to be beautiful with it. Some people, I don't know why they do this. They have a image on their social sort of media profile, and they make themselves look so nice before they take that picture. I'm thinking, man, you're just shooting yourself, It's your own goal. First thing is you don't look as nice as what you put on your picture. Guys, yes or no, tell me. You don't look as nice as that. So first is that all these guys are coming for attention towards you, and they're coming for a false person. They're coming for someone who's uglier than what the image shows them. That's first thing. Second is, you get their attention. It's like, yeah, they're going to look at my profile. They're going to give me all these. Third thing is, the next thing is, you're going to get a lot of jealous people. A lot of jealous people looking at you thinking, So that's how you got all that attention, huh? You put that lovely face of yours on there with all the lipstick and everything else on it, or whether it was the guy. I know guys not going to put lipstick on yourself, right? But maybe you put something else, and there's guys, listen, we might not put lipstick on, but there's ways that you can make yourself look better. One way is that you take your picture, then you take it to Photoshop, and you enhance the image. There's guys that do that. I'm thinking, man, you cracked or something. They enhance their photo in Photoshop. And they're making themselves look a bit more slim and make themselves look like better, this, that, and put it on. What's wrong with you? Because the person who finally eventually sees you, finds you, and talks to you will say, there's no way you're that person that they saw. There's no way. And even if you try to convince them, I'm that man, I just put a bit of weight on, they'll probably say, well, go and lose that weight. Then I'll get to know you. Right? I don't know. And the jealousy is the real thing. Because once people are jealous of you, there are a lot of people who get jealous because of profiles, because of face, because of pictures, images. And I'm like, why do you want to do that for? There's people who've got money, they want to make it, they want others to know that they've got money. I don't understand. Why are you doing that for? There's people who've got success. There's certain people, every time they pass an exam, they have to talk to everyone about it. I'm like, come on, man, get a life. What are you doing? You're creating a lot of jealousy, unwanted jealousy. You're like advertising. Come on, guys. Come on, look at my son. A star. Oh, makes me feel so good as a father. You think that guy whose son's got A, B, C, 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 B, B, B in the exams and come out, you think they're going to be looking at you thinking, you know, I'm so proud you just told me that. It's like you sitting in a place, yeah, and you're having a full 5-course meal, yeah, and you're enjoying it, and the guy's right in front of you, and you're enjoying your kebabs, you're enjoying your, you know, all your donors, and you're enjoying all your, you know, burgers and all that, and the guy on his plate, he's got mushrooms and peas. He's got mashed potato, my brother. He's got fish fingers. Now, bruv, you're going to be there and he's going to smelling your food, yeah? Don't tell me he's not going to be jealous of you. At least offer him some. Or don't eat it in front of him like that. Don't go and advertise your son this, your daughter's this. My daughter, mashallah, Cambridge, you know, got graduation, got, you know, entry into Cambridge. Well, why are you advertising all of that? When the other guy's son is going to end up in some other college or university that's not as good as this, and you know there's going to be feelings, and this is what Yaqub alayhi salam is saying, that inna shaytana lil insani aduwwun mubin. It's the right platform for the shaitan to come straight in there and sit in the other person and say, did you hear that? You hear that? Yeah. What's he saying that for? What's he saying that for? Who did you think he is? Who did you think he is? Huh? His son this, his son that, his son this. Huh? What's he putting in my face for? Yeah? Does he think I'm that bad? Does he think that's what shaitan will do? Do you think I'm low? Do you think I'm so low? I can't do that. And every other day he comes and says something good about his son. Every other day, and my son, you know, what is he? Is he some kind of punk? Is he some kind of, you know, this, retard? Is this, that, blah, 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 blah. What does he think? And all these feelings come in. And on the face, they're not going to act like that. My guy, listen to me, yeah? Just because you said it to someone smiled at you, someone liked what you said, doesn't mean that they're not jealous of you. Yaqub alayhi salam's sons, when they heard Yusuf alayhi salam say that, it wasn't like straight away they looked at him. And while he was there, they plotted. They didn't do that. They just heard him. Hey, that's nice. Yeah. Guys, come over here. Did you hear that? Did you hear what it was? They're not going to do that in front of in front of Yusuf alayhi salam. They're not going to do it in front of the father. This is all going behind the scenes. So basically, when a person smiles at you in front of your face and they're saying good things to you, be very careful, my friend. When you've told them about your success, or when they know about your good success, when they're always coming around and asking about your success, don't be don't be the one just blurts it all out. You know, try and hide as much as you can. Right? I'd say a few nice things, fine, as a ni'mah, whatever. Second thing is, if they know all of that, you know, about you, and they're smiling, all that, don't think everyone who's smiling and saying, you know, congratulations, don't think every one of them is giving you the best wishes for your future. There are a lot of good people out there, don't get me wrong, please. A lot of good people, a lot of people you trust, your families, your close friends, and whoever will say congratulations and they mean it, but I'm sure you know which guy has got a problem within himself. I'm sure you've worked that out, because you will hear from the grapevine somewhere that, you know what, he made that comment about me to that other person. Yes or no, guys? That was negative. He made a positive comment about me in front of me, and he made a negative one over there. Now, guy, do your maths, my friend. Your maths is simple. When a person, this is how you know if someone's jealous of you or not. When the way they act in front of you, that's the same way they act behind your back, that's when you know they're clean. So if they act in front of you in a way, and behind your back they're acting the same way, like they smiled in front of you, they say congratulations in front of you, or they said nice things about you, and then go behind your back and they do exactly the same thing to other people, whoever they meet. Mashallah, you know, brother so and so, I met him, mashallah, you know, akhi, he's really good, he's a really good guy, really this, and they say the good things about you behind your back, then you know that that person is not jealous of you. It's not in front of you where you take their test, it's behind your back. But when the same guy in front of you who said lovely things in front of you, then somewhere you got something in your ear that they mentioned something that wasn't nice, or wasn't entirely, they wouldn't say those words in front of you basically, in the way they said it to that other person. But don't forget, look please, there's another test you have to do with here, which is the guy who brought you the report, you got to be able to verify him as well. Because the guy who brings you the report, if he says, you know what, I heard Johnny, you know Johnny, he said this about you. Now, if the guy who's telling you is, you know, Mike, yeah, Mike's telling you about Johnny, if Mike is not reliable, then his story is not reliable. You've got to be careful here. So if you absolutely trust Mike, then take that, but don't react straight away. Don't react straight away. You've got to hear it from a second or the third source that it's happened again, and then your maths adds up. Don't just be reactionary, and don't take every dhann or every suspicion to a fact. The Qur'an tells us this. Inna ba'da dhanni ithm. Some suspicion leads you to sin. So if you've heard it once that this person said it, then you want to you might want to confront the person, you might want to make tabayyun, or you might want to actually investigate, but you can't always do that. You can't always just go up to a guy, did you mention this about me? Man, you might cause a big fight. So what you need to do is, from the grapevine, if you hear that this person said he's spoken a bit, not so nice about him, and this person said that, and that person said that, okay, that's enough. Now you know that this person in front of you is acting in one way, that they don't act behind you, and your maths equals that they probably are jealous of you, or they don't like you for some reason. And if that's the case, my friend, what I'm going to say to you is, you better find a way of giving them attention. So one good way is, if a woman knows that she's beautiful and this other woman is jealous of her beauty, then the way to kill off her jealousy is to genuinely go and make really nice comments about her beauty, about the one who's jealous, in front of others. Or even if it's not about her beauty, about good things that Allah's given her. Just say, mashallah, this sister, mashallah, she's got good akhlaq, she's got this, she's got that, she's really good with her, with the way she conducts with others. And in front of others, praise her and praise her. Praise the one who's jealous of you. And when you do that, you start diffusing it, because then they get the attention they want, attention comes off you, and that's how jealousy starts to go away. But if you don't do anything like that, like in the case of Yusuf alayhi salam, Yusuf's still home. He's still loving his time with daddy. And the brothers are outside working every single day. And the jealousy has crept in, and they're trying to, nothing's changing. And he's seeing this dream that's going to make him this star of the whole family in the future. And they know that. Then they come to this where they wanted the attention of the father. And the final thing I will say is, وَتَكُونُوا مِن بَعْدِهِ قَوْمٌ صَالِحِينَ. Subhanallah. They said, you know what? We're gonna do this one act of crime. And after that, tawbah, 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 tawbah. وَتَكُونُوا مِن بَعْدِهِ قَوْمًا صَالِحًا. After that, all of us are going to be the most pious individuals you can ever find. We're going to be the best people you've ever met. This is what people do about a crime. They justify in their heads. Now, there's a lot for me to say on this. So today we've ended the session, but next week we're going to go from this point, which is the psychology of the people who want to do a crime. What is it that they do to justify themselves to make that crime? Because you have to justify your beliefs. And this is one thing they did. And all criminals, they justify something in their minds that it's okay for them to do the crime, because after the crime, there's going to be a change. And for that change, it's worthy to do what they're doing right now. La ilaha illallah, jazakumullah khair, wa akhiru da'wana, and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Inshallah, I'll see you next week, inshallah at the same time.
الذكر علم ونور الحاملات سنا ونور والرسمات هنا سرور يا حلوات تلك السنين